Matt, from your ratings, because obviously you like doing ratings separate from other sort of publications and other things like that. Where do you put this in the rating?
Yeah, this race fascinates me of all the races we're going to talk about, because I think I'm beginning to get a good handle on it. And what I do believe is nothing in this race should be 5 to 4, just on rating. I mean, Faugheen, as you talked about there, we can't knock him. He's now a 4 times Grade 1 winner. He came down from just over the extended 2 mile free, where he really controlled the pace very cleverly, Ruby Walsh, against a horse that probably in second of Nicky Henderson that's going to probably turn out to be a 3 miler. And then he come down down in trip to 2 miles. What was disappointing, of course, was Irvine being pulled up. So many will start talking about the form. But the second horse, Purple Bay, came out of the grade race, of course, at Wincanton, which Rock and Ruby was in. Off level weights, Faugheen beat at 8 lengths, obviously got a little bit of a mistake at the last. But going through that form, it puts Purple Bay actually £10 behind Rock on Ruby. If you're taking the form literally, it actually puts Faugheen £2 behind Rock on Ruby. So from a rating point of view, what he achieved that day, I allocated him a mark of 173, and that was based on me having Purple Bay 165 in second, with Blue Heron in third. Sign of Victory clearly didn't run his race, did he, from the Labrook? For me, that was nearly £20 under
I was disappointed.
And Faugheen, what he did show is that he has got, he's got plenty of class. I'm not saying he can't win the Champion Hurdle. What I'm saying from a ratings point of view and for collateral form lines at Grade 1 level, he's not a 5 to 4 shot.
But the horse remains unbeaten. I mean, I can't take out of my mind the 22-odd length beating of Joss's Hill on the flat race back in Ireland a year and a half ago. But
and if you look at the form, it's a valid point that the market rival's disappointed. So, but it's not always about that, is it? In these trials, it's about how the horse
visually
travels and jumps.
I think you learn more with the eye sometimes than you do with what's around it. I mean, Ruby Walsh really tried to educate the horse, and I remember Dan Skelton came out because he'd saddled Faugheen at Ascot, and he said there was a lot of condition on the horse. He'd never seen a horse with that condition run so well at Ascot. So you've got to think he's going to be trained for the minute for this race. And I know that the stable have come out this week, and there's another horse we'll probably mention in a moment, Hurricane Fly, and said he's still our number one. I suppose until Faugheen does it, they're always going to say
Hurricane Fly obviously has proved it. That's the thing, isn't it?
And until Faugheen does it, you can't say he's going to be better than him. But
well, let's take a look at the 11 to 4 on the screen. It's come off now, but the new one, who again ran over the Christmas period. You are not impressed, Billy?
The new one, this is going to be a ridiculous thing to say. I still don't see him as a 2 miler. I've still never quite seen him as a 2 miler.
Pull him over further.
Yeah.
Might be further.
It's interesting, the new one. I mean, I've been well known to sat here twice that he's won it and said not nasty things about him, just say I wasn't quite sure about him. His win last time against Van Ter. Van Ter's come out of the weekend behind Rock on Ruby, Alofi in third. King of the Picks was in fourth. He's ran in behind a lot of this form with Hurricane Fly. If you go through all of that, the new one to me this season only performed up to marks of 168. So Faugheen, I'm talking of 153. And there are clear collateral form lines to show that. Alofi in third at the time, I was really dishing the form and saying, well, what was it worth? But I do think that Alofi has improved again now, going for 2.5 miles. But as things stand, the new one I had performed to 174 for being unlucky, well, it seemed to be unlucky in the Champion Hurdle. For me, he hasn't produced that mark for me at the moment. He's still, for me, Faugheen will be well ahead of him, and there'll be a few other horses that I'm going to speak about that people their eyes might pop out the sockets when I come with my selection. And I will explain the form for my reasons why. But at the moment, of what he showed this, of course he can improve again. He's been at the Champion Hurdle. He's been in that type of event. That's a massive thing for him. But at the prices, he wouldn't be for me.
So the new one, is it better to call him the nearly one?
You know what? I was going to say the exact similar sort of thing. I fear that this horse could turn into a bit of a bridesmaid, and he'll always get near or always be there. But there's something about it, and I used to be a massive fan. I'm not dissing the horse. People think too quickly that we're not liking the horse, but I think Billy's got a point, and I just think over further, it's nagging doubts in my head. And at the prices, if you had to pick one of the two at the front, I'd go for the unexposed Faugheen, in that sense that he's yet to put it up to these, and I know the new one's been there and done it. And I know he was unlucky in last year's renewal, and I know he's won at Cheltenham, but
11 to 4 is about right.
I think I'm not sure it is quite right, but
really, when Jezki,
I don't think it's a bad price.
Really?
I don't think it's any value. But I wouldn't say
he's going to turn out the same price on the day, if not bigger.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get involved now. The new one for me is a horse in between trips. Really, he takes a while to get going over 2 miles. Perhaps Championship pace sees him in better light when they're really going at it, where you need more of a 2.5 miler to win a champion hurdle. But
what would have been good is if the trainers that particular Saturday would have run against each other. And
they wouldn't do that.
Of course they wouldn't. And everything's
too easy to dodge when the fixture book is as it is. Why? You know, these horses hopefully are all trained for the day, and I think Jezki, who you're going to come on to now, I think, is a prime example for one that will improve.
Jezki Hurricane Fly. I mean, probably the best race so far this season, I'd suggest. The third tempers the form a little bit there. We'll talk about it in a second. But Jezki Hurricane Fly for Cheltenham. How do you see the order going?
Do you know what I think? I was really surprised when Mr. Pricewise put his pick up, because I was convinced he was going to go for Jezki at the prices. I think the only possible, not disadvantage, but I'd love to see Barry Geraghty back on the horse. That's just my view. I like AP, but I just don't think he's got the hands to handle this horse.
It's funny you should say that, because there's some horses, Denman springs to mind. You know, when other jockeys went on Denman, they didn't seem to handle Denman. There might be a way of... My point about Jezki would be more about the hood being the first application at Cheltenham last year, and just maybe the horse is becoming... I do think Jezki might reverse the form. I don't think
so. I think last year I was looking at a bit on Jezki, because I thought, well, these Irish trials, if you like, were, you know, it doesn't really count for as much as some people may think when it comes to the big day, and Jezki was right on the day. He was all out to win, but... I think he's got to be, of the market leaders at the prices, the one to be on again this time. I don't see...
Each way bet to nothing, you'd expect...
Each way, Sam? He won it last year.
Okay, but my point is, you'd expect the horse to be in the 3, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but why would you put £20 each way to get £40 back if it finished third?
View it as insurance then, if you want. But my point is, if this horse isn't in the final 3 coming round the bend, you'd be disappointed.
Are we dismissing Hurricane Fly? Because look, I mean, how many Grade 1s is it now? 21?
I think also remember that was run on soft ground. We're also going to you're going to get quicker conditions. That the likelihood is, from a form point of view, there's a very clear form angle in this race. King of the Picks, who finished 4th, ran behind the new one. I've watched King of the Picks run in both races. There's no reason to expect that he's ran underform well in the others. When you look at it strictly, Hurricane Fly, he's been beat by Hurricane Fly 17 lengths off level weights. If you look at his run behind the new one, he was beaten 16 lengths in receipt of £4. They come out exactly the same horse. Arctic Fire was in 3rd position, and if you go through some of that form, of course, who did he run before behind that? Irvine. And then you start having Irving coming in front of... Through those lines, you have Irving coming out in front of the new one and Hurricane Fly at Jezki, and Irving, who got pulled up admittedly last time, is a 50-to-1 shot.
OK, well, I tell you what, we've gone through this and we haven't got much time, actually. And I take your point about Arctic Fire's proximity to Jezki and Hurricane Fly race. But look, is there any other things... you said that others should make a mention in this. Is there any others we should be mentioning?
I think Irvine is a big mention. He's pulled up the time before that. I've watched both races of Arctic Fire. Again... You know, there was nothing to suggest that he's found that much improvement. In fact, I think that you could probably argue Irvine's race was running a truer race than ever Hurricane Fly and Jezki's race were, and obviously it's disappointing he had that problem with his foot. But at 50-to-1 on all those form runs I've said, he would be the... I thought...
That mare was pulled out, wasn't it, of Quinn's, Estravel?
Lord Estravel.
She was second to Irvine. In the Fighting Fifth.
Oh, second, right. Yeah, okay.
Second, giving it £7, and that might turn out to be
That's right, and Arctic Fire was 3rd, wasn't it?
It was 3rd, and if you agree with that?
That's right.
I've got one at a slightly bigger price, just to consider. Vanatu, that's come second behind the new one twice. Will it benefit from better ground? Probably not. It's been beaten on good to soft, but, you know, Nicky Henderson's not going to have too many going for this race, we don't think.
I think that horse is tripless. I think they're undecided. I mean, it was a champion hurdle candidate, and then they step it up in trip, got beat by Rock and Ruby, and I think they're just trying to... I think they think the horse is class enough, but I don't think Connections know what
beaten by Vibrator Valpat, that's won good races since, and there's a changed reform character. I'm just looking at something at a bigger price, because I do think it's...
Sam, Billy, you got anything of the...
No, I mean, it's 14-to-1 bar of 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's opportunity for something to get placed at a good price. It's difficult. I mean, watching Hurricane Fly over Christmas, he just looked superb. You know, it was great to see him win again where he's happiest. But you couldn't say he's past it. You know, you would say.
Well, I think they're going to plan the run again at Leopardstown.
I'd be more concerned. I mean, they went hell for leather over the last. They both had very hard races, haven't they? It's not as if they were saving him for Cheltenham. Jockeys were blazing that day.
Was it the cup final for Hurricane Fly?
I've always thought Hurricane Fly just falls a little bit. I know he's won 2 champion hurdles, but if you look back through some of the champion hurdles he's won, how the form's actually worked out, I've got a feeling that, like last year, I think he ran his race. I just think he just falls short of what's needed this year.
I don't think Hurricane Fly ever gets the credit from us.
Who's going to ride it?
I've no doubt that if both of them get there on the day, I think. I'll be honest. I think Ruby Walsh is going to be on Faugheen. I can't see past that. I think nostalgia won't come into it. The one to mention, Garden of Victoria as well, won the Greatwood. So if I'm mentioning Vanuatu, I really should mention that one.
Okay, we can't mention too many because I'm now going to pin you down. I'm going to try and get you a selection. Billy?
If you pin me down now, I would take 6-1 about Jezki.
Yeah, I've backed Irvine today at 50 to 1. That's all just to point out of Irvine. He's only ever ran on good ground once, and that was at Taunton when beating Cup final.
Disappointed at Cheltenham last year.
He did disappoint in the Supreme, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the Supreme, he's had one go round already. 50 to 1 on those forms. I said he's got lots of form on soft ground, but I've just got a feeling this horse might be better on better ground.
Irvine
at 50 to 1.
Sam.
Right now, if I had to put £10 on, I would go for Jezki, but I wouldn't put any off Garden of Victoria if the horse goes. I think if you're going to be looking for something at a price, it's one round the course. That always appeals to me.
Okay.
On the day, Faugheen, if you can get bigger than what you can get now, I think you'd be laughing personally.
Well, my advice would be, actually, on the day, to wait for those bookmaker offers, because no doubt they'll come out in their droves at 4 to 1 or something like that. So anyone taking the 5 to 4 now, wait to the day.